Man, I've physically filmed multiple videos today. This one will be going up later, and of course, if you're watching this now, you're like, "Oh my God, it's Orange Robbie!" Like, don't wear the same shirt twice, kids. Bad things happen. Gotta stay cleanly. But I've been up for like a million hours, so I might be a little bit repetitive in talking about this. So bear with me. I was looking through the comments on a video, and there were a couple interesting topics that I hit on. Jesus. A couple good topics that hit me. Dun 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 dun. The one I want to talk about this video is literally someone made the comment about good hit.Dek, and I'm going to talk about that in a sec. But if you guys want to see a video about me trying to teach players fundamentals of getting better at the game, make sure you like this video. Communicate that with me. If I'm seeing a lightsaber down below, I don't know what you guys want. So, yeah, if you guys want to see a robbie-kohl attempt at edumacation, talk to me. You know, leave a comment down below, tell me. But this video, hopefully I can talk 10 minutes about, well, 9 more, but good hit.Dek. So, in the history of the game, before all of this archetype shit came out, there was a time where you could play good hit.Dek. Good hit.Dek was literally just an embodiment of a bunch of random cards tossed into one deck. End video. Right, you guys know. Just kidding. So, basically, Royal Oppression, Solemn Judgments, Heavy Storm, MST. Look at Teledad. Teledad is a good hit.Dek, if I've ever fucking seen one. You know, fucking Krebon's Teleport, Psychic Commander, Dark Arm Dragon, Stardust, Thought Ruler. I mean, the card pool at the time, it wasn't big enough to allocate to archetypes. And if archetypes did exist, they were a little bit smaller. Literally, Goat Control is good hit.Dek. You know, like, a fucking Air Knight Parshath and a Sura Priest should never be in the same fucking deck. But you know what? At the time of the format, it was. And the game kind of shifted. Dragon Rulers, I guess, is, to me, it would be Dragon Rulers, because up until Dragon Rulers, I mean, yeah, you had X-Sabers, but they were literally good hit.Dek as well, because of Rescue Cat and all of the other good splash ability. But most of the X-Saber support and stuff that we had during, I think it was 2009 Nats, Dark Soul was the most fucking ridiculous ruling I'd ever heard. For every fucking Dark Soul, every time Dark Soul hit the graveyard, so now it's ruled that it goes to the graveyard, stays there, you get the one search. You would resolve Dark Soul like this, all for the same Dark Soul. Look at this, guys. This is all of the Dark Soul searches that I got in a turn. No, you wouldn't go beyond like 4 or 5, but it would remember that it went to the graveyard, and literally, it was ridiculous. Fucking Brionic was crazy ass nuts with that deck. And literally, there were archetypes that I guess you can say existed. X-Sabers, I guess Frog FTK kind of counts as an archetype. It's literally a bunch of random fucking frogs with the whole intent to kill your opponent. So if you want to classify frogs as an archetype, I guess you can, because technically it's there. Monarchs in the 2007 time, I would definitely classify as a good hit.Dek. It was literally just whatever tribute fodder engine you could play, and then a bunch of Monarchs. It was literally just splashed together. I mean, literally when you look at archetypes now, I mean, they all have good spell and trap card support. I mean, Monarchs didn't have that back in 2007, 2008. Dragon Rulers were kind of a good hit.Dek. It was a lot of good splash ability. If you want to consider the Dragon Rulers an archetype once again, but you literally played 4 of an archetype. 8. I forgot the little babies. And then a bunch of good cards. And then to top things off, I mean, spellbooks were ridiculous for what they were. There's no denying that. Spellbooks were ideally the first true archetype. It's kind of where the dividing point happened in the game. I mean, yeah, you had Lightsworn during Teledad, and like I said, you had X-Sabers and things like that. But obscure rulings and the focus on the game during the early stages in time were really just common staples in Dek. And that's where Konami America really divided things up, because as soon as the ban list rift happened between America and Japan, they started hitting our staple cards. And that's where, Compulse got destroyed here. Solemn Judgment died. Solemn Warning got the first initial hit. But Konami America definitely puts more emphasis, or I guess Europe too. But the American side or the English side of the game, corrections. The English side of the game definitely puts a lot more emphasis on archetype building as opposed to the earlier days of Konami and Upper Deck. And definitely generic staples do sell. I mean, look at Pot of Desires, look at Dimension Barrier. They're both very good generic cards. But when you have archetypes that exist, like Metaphors, that are so powerful in filling their own deck, those quote-unquote good filler cards basically make up the rest of your deck and allow your deck to function in the spectrum in which it needs to. And I think that's one of the cool things, is we've definitely strayed away from having 40 cards the deck, as opposed to having, 15 to 20 of an archetype in a deck, as opposed to the early days where you might only have, Dragon Rulers was 8, Spellbooks, the entire deck was a fucking book. But really, Lightsworn really was the only one that went beyond, a 20 card engine in and itself. So I guess looking at the time, looking at how they wanted to construct things, archetypes, as much as I hate to say them because I loved anti-meta, I love stun as a concept because it literally is just an abomination of a deck. You literally just stop your opponent from playing the game. And I know people hate floodgates, but I loved being able to stunt my opponent's active strategies. Fucking Royal Oppression was the tits to me as a fucking, adolescent adult growing up. Just seeing that card be able to just be like, no, fuck you. It was so cool. And when Konami took a survey and said, do you guys want Royal Oppression banned, even though it was, limited to 1, we knew its days were done. And definitely Konami's got their shit together a lot more now. It's one of the things I respect about the company now, is even though they took away a timer on the ban list, which I'm going to make a video on that another fucking day, because I fucking really, really, really think that not having a timer is a bad thing, but Magic the Gathering gets away with it, I guess. At least announce the next time that you're going to consider a revision. I mean, you don't have to have a timer on things, but talk about that another time besides streaming here. But archetypes definitely sell a lot more packs. I guess Pepe was kind of an archetype deck. That was more of a clusterfuck of how many pendulums can you shove in a fucking deck and make them work. Clee 4 was definitely archetype based. The Clee engine was extremely nice. New Monarchs, they're archetype based, I guess. But, I mean, it all depends on what your definition of archetypes are. X number of cards in the deck, X filler. The concept of literally the good shit deck doesn't really exist anymore. Barrier statues were kind of the closest thing that we had to them, and we haven't seen them have any success in the TCG side of things at all for regionals. And, I mean, I think they might have top 32'd 1 or 2. But literally, it's nearly impossible with the current amount of staples, the current amount of power creep that's happened in the game. And to those of you that think a ban list is going to fix half of your problems right now, no. If a ban list actually happens right now, and I'm going to make I want to make another discussion on the ban list. But literally, if a ban list happens now, you literally destroy anything in today's meta that will have a chance of competing against Zodiac, thus creating a power creep even further to Zodiac. But if you allow everything in the current metagame to exist, that's an archetype, you guys get it, then things might be a little bit easier. But the driving force to want to sell more product, to basically continue the flow of new cards into players, obsoleting old things, it's going to happen, as much as I don't think it needs to happen. But I would definitely like to see some old staples come back. Definitely give me that feel of good shit.Dek. But I mean, it's just not gonna happen. So guys, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the concept of good shit.Dek. The viability of just an entire deck full of very good cards to whether or not stunt your opponent, not technically rely on an archetype itself. Do you guys think it will be possible again? Do you think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has evolved so far past that it's going to take 3 years to turn around, to go back to those days? Do you think that decks that were just good generic cards are bad for the game? Do you think archetypes are better? Comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Obviously, my opinion is just that, my opinion. Every once in a while, it is shit, and definitely think today has not been a shitty day. So, alright guys, peace. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please thumbs up this video to show your support, and please check out Vanguard 40 for Cardfight Vanguard, mkohl Games for miscellaneous trading card games, and No Limit Gaming for a brand new series of Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for watching.